Most powerful empires in history. Number 11. Portuguese Empire. The Portuguese Empire was one of the world's most powerful empires in history. It was the first global empire in history, establishing its presence around the world from the 15th to 19th centuries. The Portuguese Empire was formed during the Age of Discovery, and extended its dominion to Africa, the Middle East, South America, and Asia. At its peak in the 17th century, the Portuguese Empire was one of the largest and most powerful on the planet, covering an area of 8.5 million square miles and including territories such as Brazil, Angola, Macau, Timor, Mozambique, Goa, and more. During its rule, Portugal developed strong economic, cultural, and political ties with numerous countries and left an indelible mark on them. It was also responsible for the introduction of Christianity and European culture to many places around the world. Number 10. Yuan Dynasty. The Yuan dynasty was one of the most powerful empires in history. Established in 1271 by Kublai Khan, the Mongolian ruler of the Mongol Empire, the Yuan dynasty was the first foreign dynasty of China. It lasted until 1368, when it was replaced by the Ming dynasty. During the Yuan dynasty, China underwent many important changes, such as the widespread introduction of paper money and the rise of Confucianism as the official state ideology. Additionally, it had a large geographic reach, becoming the largest contiguous empire in history, reaching as far as present-day Iran in the west. The Yuan dynasty was also known for its advanced military tactics and technologies, which allowed them to conquer many of their adversaries. The Yuan dynasty was a powerful and influential empire that left a lasting impact on China, both politically and culturally. Number 9. Umayyad Caliphate. The Umayyad Caliphate was one of the most powerful empires in history, ruling for over a century from 661 to 750 AD. At its height, its territory extended from Spain in the west to modern-day Pakistan in the east, making it the largest empire in the world at the time. The Umayyads were descendants of the first Muslim family to rule the Islamic Empire, the Umayyad dynasty. Their rule was characterized by military expansion and a centralized government, with the Caliphate's leaders establishing a strong economic and political system. The Umayyads also contributed to a flourishing of Islamic culture, with grand monuments, universities, libraries, and other public works. They also established an efficient system of taxation, which allowed the state to fund its ambitious military campaigns. The Umayyad dynasty was eventually overthrown in 750 by the Abbasid Caliphate, but its legacy remains in the Muslim world. Number 8. Abbasid Caliphate. The Abbasid Caliphate, which was founded in 750 CE, was one of the most powerful empires in history and one of the longest-lasting dynasties in the region. During its peak, the Abbasid Caliphate stretched from the Middle East to North Africa, as well as parts of Central Asia and the Indian subcontinent. It was a major economic, political, and cultural center, and it was known for its advancements in science, medicine, mathematics, and philosophy. With major cities such as Baghdad and Samarra, the Abbasid Caliphate was at the heart of a sophisticated network of trade routes that connected it to many parts of the world and linked it to other powerful empires. It was also home to great works of art, literature, and architecture. The Abbasid Caliphate declined in power and influence after the Mongol invasions of the 13th century, though it continued to have an impact on the region for centuries. To this day, the Abbasid Caliphate is remembered as one of the most powerful and influential empires in history. Number 7. French Colonial Empire. The French Colonial Empire was one of the most powerful empires in history. It was formed during the 17th century, and by the 19th century it had grown to encompass a vast swath of the Americas, Africa, and Asia. Its territories included much of North America, the Caribbean, West Africa, South and Southeast Asia, India, and Indochina. The French colonial empire was one of the most influential and expansive colonial empires in the world. It was a major force in global trade, and its reach extended to both political and cultural realms. The French colonial empire was the largest of its kind, and it shaped the development of many countries today. Its influence was so profound that it has been dubbed the first globalization. It was also the source of France's greatest wealth and its most powerful source of power. It was the foundation of France's wealth and its place in the world. Number 6. Spanish Empire. The Spanish Empire was one of the most powerful empires in history. Spanning across multiple continents and oceans, it was a dominant force in Europe, the Americas, the Middle East and even parts of Asia. It was created when the Kingdom of Castile and the Crown of Aragon were united in 1479 and was further expanded upon through the colonization of parts of the Americas and the Far East. During its peak, the Spanish Empire was the most powerful in Europe, with an extensive network of colonies, military control, and a naval presence throughout the world. This allowed them to control the flow of goods, people and ideas throughout their empire and beyond. The Spanish Empire was also characterized by a high degree of religious and cultural diversity, which was shaped by the influence of different faiths and peoples that the Spanish encountered as they expanded their borders. The Spanish Empire also played an important role in the development of science and the arts, with Spanish scholars and artists influencing the wider world, including the Renaissance and the Enlightenment. The Spanish Empire eventually declined as a result of wars and competition from Britain, France and the Netherlands, and by the 19th century had been replaced by a new order in Europe. Number 5. Qing Dynasty. The Qing dynasty was an imperial dynasty that ruled over China from 1644 to 1912 CE. It was the last imperial dynasty in Chinese history, and it was the most powerful empire in the world during its time. The Qing dynasty was founded by the Manchus, a nomadic people from Manchuria in northern China. The Qing dynasty's most famous ruler was the Kangxi Emperor, who ruled from 1662 to 1722 CE. The Kangxi Emperor expanded the dynasty's power and influence across China, establishing a unified and centralized government. He also opened the country to foreign trade and created diplomatic ties with countries in Europe and the Middle East. During the Qing dynasty, Chinese culture flourished and its population doubled. Inventions such as the compass, paper money, and the printing press were all introduced during the dynasty. The dynasty also saw the building of the Grand Canal, the construction of the Great Wall of China, and the introduction of the world's longest canal system. The collapse of the Qing dynasty in 1912 CE marked the end of imperial rule in China and the beginning of the Republic of China. Number 4. Soviet Union. The Soviet Union was one of the most powerful empires in history. It was a multinational state comprised of 15 constituent republics and spanned from Eastern Europe to Central Asia, stretching from the Baltic Sea in the north to the Pacific Ocean in the south. It was a major world power in both the military and economic arenas during its 74-year history, and its influence was felt throughout the world. The Soviet Union was founded in 1922 after the Russian Revolution and the fall of the Russian Empire. During the first 2 decades of its existence, it faced numerous challenges, including a civil war, the Great Terror of 1937-1938, and World War II. Nevertheless, the Soviet Union's economy and military strength grew steadily, allowing it to play a major role in the post-war global order. The Soviet Union was renowned for its military power, which was a major factor in its ability to maintain its influence over much of Eastern Europe and Central Asia. The Soviet Union maintained the world's largest land army and had the world's second largest air force. Its nuclear weapons arsenal was one of the largest in the world, and its naval power was significant too. Its economy was highly industrialized and its scientific and technological achievements were impressive. The Soviet Union's economic and military strength allowed it to play a key role in international affairs during the Cold War, which ended with its dissolution in 1991. Despite its fall, the Soviet Union left an indelible mark on the world and was one of the most powerful empires in history. Number 3. British Empire. The British Empire was one of the most powerful empires in history. At its height, the British Empire spanned 25% of the world's population and covered almost a quarter of the world's total land area. Its influence was felt in nearly every corner of the world, and the empire's reach extended to every continent, including North America, Asia, Africa, Australia, and the Pacific Islands. The British Empire was created through trade, settlement, and colonization, as well as military and political conquests. Over the centuries, the British Empire was a major global force, and its legacy continues to be felt today in some aspects of modern culture. During its peak, the British Empire was known for its strong economy, its advanced military, and its system of government. It was one of the first empires to recognize religious and cultural tolerance, and its common law system, which is still in place in many countries today, was developed through the British Empire. Number 2. Mongol Empire. The Mongol Empire was one of the most powerful empires in history. Established by Genghis Khan in 1206, it was the largest contiguous land empire in history, stretching from Mongolia, across Central Asia and into parts of Europe and the Middle East. At its peak, it covered some 24 million square kilometers, making it the largest empire in history in terms of landmass. It was a powerful military force and had a highly organized bureaucracy and taxation system. The Mongol Empire was a highly decentralized state and allowed a great deal of regional autonomy. This allowed it to be a very efficient and effective military and administrative force. The empire was extremely effective in warfare, using their superior horsemanship, mobility, and effective siege tactics. This allowed them to conquer a large portion of Asia and Eastern Europe. The Mongol Empire was also known for its great religious tolerance and cultural exchange, allowing it to become a major trading power in the region. The empire eventually collapsed in the 14th century due to internal conflicts and dynastic struggles. Number 1. Roman Empire. The Roman Empire was one of the most powerful empires in history. It was founded in 27 BC by Augustus Caesar and lasted until the fall of Constantinople in 1453 AD. At its peak, the Roman Empire stretched from Britain in the north to Egypt in the south, and from Spain in the west to the Middle East in the east. It was a major center of culture, learning, and political power. Its citizens spoke Latin, its laws were based on Roman law, and its culture influenced much of Europe. It was an absolute monarchy, so the emperor had complete control over all aspects of life. The Roman Empire was in decline by the 5th century, but it left behind a legacy that still influences the world today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video on the most powerful empires in history, make sure to click the like button and subscribe to the channel for more fascinating curiosities around the world. Until next week, see you soon.